everyone, and welcome back to the Truth That Heals podcast. Today, I have special guest Twana Lawler. Twana, how are you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm feeling great. It's very hot here in Texas where I'm at, uh, but all the
Okay.
more, even though it's hot, I'm just so happy to have you as a guest. Welcome to
Well,
the show.
thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Well, I recently discovered you online and I saw in your bio your story, and I don't want to reveal everything right away. But in your story, reading your bio, it says that you're a poet, you're a movie writer, also that you are a motivational speaker.
Yeah.
And I see all of these positive things, these constructive, creative things that you're doing. However, as I was reading more of your bio, I also saw that before you were doing these projects, there were a lot of dark moments in your life. And one of them was, I think, that one of the first episodes of darkness that you mentioned in your biography was the demise of your father. But before we get into that, I was wondering if you can share with the audience, share with the podcast, what was life like before the demise of your father?
Wow. Beautiful. Before the demise of my father, we were a family. My mother, my father. I have three brothers. I'm the oldest and the only girl. So I was spoiled. I was the apple of his eye. Uh, uh, we went on trips, family trips, and everything. Went to church, did everything, prayed, ate at the dinner table together. He would talk to us. He was a good father. He would talk to us and ask us how our day went. And he was the one who would cook. He was the one who did a whole lot more. My mother would be at work, and my father worked during the day. She worked second shift, and so she would be at work, and he worked during the day. So he was home with us after we got out of school and stuff. So we was able to spend more time with him. And then he just did more stuff like when they both was out, he one initiated us doing going to a drive-in theater. They don't have those now, but back in the day, there was fun, especially when you go as a family and get that bucket of KFC, and that's what we used to do: get the KFC and go to the drive-in. Just had a good time, and I sensed him getting depressed. I had noticed because he was just sleeping a lot, but I didn't know what was going on in their life because they didn't never let us know. Our family, we was kids, so we should know anyway. But our family didn't know how to communicate. So, and when you don't have communication, it's a broken family. And like I don't know if they grew up that way, like not knowing how to hug people and say I love you. They just think that both of him and my mother think that buying you things and I had got they bought me so much stuff. I didn't care nothing about them. Like now, I don't care about materialistic things for that fact because I always got what I wanted. He would, but they would go way above and beyond for the children, for all four of us. Had us dressing nice all the time and everything. And then one day, my mother came in my room and said she was leaving my dad. And when she said that, it kind of threw me because I never ever seen that coming. I never seen them arguing. I never see, I knew they was having issues because they both were cheaters. And that's why I do not cheat. I do not condone people cheating. I don't do that because I see the damage that it causes. And that was the issue, the cheating part. And she left him and convinced us to go with it because I didn't want to because I love my mom but I was closer to my dad than I was with my mom. He talked to me about life. She never did ever. So, but he did, and I just wanted to be with him. And so we when I woke up the weekend after we moved in and came out of my bedroom, it was a man walking out of her room with a robe on. And I didn't know who this man was, but he was the man that was helping us move in.
Mhm.
And I thought he was the mover. So I asked my brother, I said, why is the mover coming out of mom's room with a robe on? And he told me that was her boyfriend. So I said, I'm going back home. So they said, we going too. So because I don't know that stranger and I was confused because I'm like, I'm 12 and I'm shaped like an 18-year-old, like a 12 years old. So how would you bring a grown man around your 12-year-old daughter? I didn't understand that because I would never do that. Would never do that because you can't trust people. Now he wasn't trustable. He was a creep and I didn't like him. And because of that, and I was never gonna like him because of couple days later, uh, we was going to see our dad again to let him know we hadn't told her yet that we wanted to move in with him because we had to wait till a weekend because she was out. And when we was walking down the street, a cousin pulled up one on our father's side. He pulled up, the brakes was screeching and everything real fast. And he told us, hurry up and jump in the car. And we was like, why? We want to see our father. He said, no, just jump in the car. Jump in the car. So we jumped in the car. Everybody was quiet all the way. Me and my brother kind of sensed something wasn't right. Because, you can kind of feel it in the atmosphere, the air and stuff. It just didn't feel right. So we was kind of confused. So we pulled up in the hospital. We go in the hospital. And my mother was sitting there, and there was some other family members sitting in there, and they all crying, looking sad, and we still don't know what's going on. And then there was our mother walked up to us and said, our father shot himself in the head. But he was still alive at that point. And she told then the doctor came out and talked to her. And she told my cousin, take us over our aunt, back over our aunt's house. And we were sitting over there waiting on her to call. The phone rung, and my aunt ran in the living room to get it. We was all sitting in this family room. And she just started screaming and fell to the ground and started screaming. And we knew then, and me and my brothers just started busting that crying because we knew he was gone. And that's when they said he had died. And I was 13. And I became after that, we never got to counseling. So we grew up dysfunctional. We grew up like I'm having babies. I got married. I'm in a domestic violence relationship, because I'm not knowing what I'm doing. I'm a kid. And my mother didn't know how to talk to me. She didn't get us counseling. She didn't care for real. But she loved us. But my mother had me when she was 19. And I think now looking back, there was a generation of curses because I had my first daughter when I was 15. They married her dad when I was 16. We wasn't even married that long because he was an abuser. He was beating me and everything. So I'm telling you, I've been through a lot. And to go, and I tell my grandkids, they know what I've been through and everything because I tell people what I've been through because I don't want to see other people going through that, especially women going through what I went through. So because it's too much, and for one person go through this, and I never picked up a crack pipe. I never did drugs, but what I did do was pick up beer bottle. And I was drinking all the time. I became a beer holic. That's what I would say. I'm a beer holic. I'm not an alcoholic because I didn't drink like whiskey, wine. I just drank beer, and it had to be malt liquor because that's what got you drunk. And you know why I was doing it? Because it erased a lot of stuff. So I thought out of my mind. That's what I thought, that it was erasing that stuff out. But once that high goes down and them memories come back, it's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. And I end up changing my life because I just went through so much. And I was like, it got to the point. Everybody was like, are you tired? And I was telling them, yeah. I told my daughter, I'm done. I'm done of fighting. I got done. I was done because I had them kids young. And then I had to raise my grandkids. I'm like, is my life ever going to change? I had to raise them for 10 years. The youngest was 3 months old when I got her. And my daughter turned on me. She turned on me, called me all kind of B's and HOs and I'm telling everything under the sun. Said when I die, she's gonna spit on my grave. That stuck in my mind and just it's hard to get away. It's hard to erase that because that like it's like dig deep. You my child. You my daughter. I brought you in this world. I love you. Obviously, I love you. I'm raising your children. Those are not my kids. And my daughter had went off to college. My youngest daughter. So now I'm like, I'm free. I can go serve the Lord. Guess what happened? I had to get 1, 2, 3, 4 little small kids from 10 months old to 6 years old. They've been through abuse. They've been burned with lights. They've been locked in the room. They've been through all this stuff. One of them had hand, mouth, and foot disease. So I had to compile all this stuff, get these kids, get them together, had to get them in school. One of them had to have like 18 shots because she had never been having shots. She had 18 shots. Just so much. It was just so much on me. And I never had a nervous breakdown, never got depressed, never. I I don't mind helping people. I got a good heart, but sometimes some people walk all over it. Well, I got pregnant at 14 and I had him when I was 15. Ended up marrying him at 16. The day when we got married, as soon as we walked in the house and he closed that door, he smacked me. And I said, what you smack me for? And he said, I was looking at his brother. Wasn't attracted to his brother at all. I didn't find nothing sexy about his brother. Didn't find nothing excited about him. Nothing. It was his brother. That was my brother-in-law. I don't know why he thought that. And then after that, he said, "You got to drop out of school." I was going to graduate. He said, "You got to drop out of school because I don't want no boys trying to talk to you." It was all. Then he like was in the car. I would have to look straight because if I look at the window and says a bunch of guys standing out there, he would hit me. He would hit me. So he was like, "When you in this car with me, you gotta look straight." Then he would take the phones to work with him. He would take the cords and wrap the wire around it, and I'm sitting there watching him do it, and I just be sitting there saying to myself, "This is ridiculous." And I was so getting so sick and tired of it. Fighting got worse and worse and worse, and the controlling and him just really locking me in his house and not letting me call my mother, not letting me talk to anybody. I couldn't come out of the house unless he was taking me somewhere. We didn't do anything together. Once you change your life, you don't want to go back. I like the way I live now better. I like not getting drunk. I like not smoking cigarettes. I like that. When God heard God's voice, that's how I stopped smoking. That's how I stopped smoking and drinking and became celibate. Because I heard his voice. I never heard his voice before until I cried out to him this particular day. And I was telling him, I was being honest. Now, I tell people all the time, you got to be honest with the Lord. And I told him, I said, "I know I'm a heathen. I call myself a heathen." I said, "I got nerves asking you to take this pain away." I had just had a hysterectomy. That's what was wrong. And I was in this pain. And I had been feeling different. How you going to sit there and call yourself being a true woman of God, but you still doing the same worldly stuff. You still going to the club, drinking and stuff. And so that's what I told him I was doing. So I wasn't fake. I wasn't gonna lie about it. I said, "This is what I'm doing. I'm a heathen. I'm driving a car with praying hands, but yet after church, I'm going to the motorcycle club drinking beer and smoking cigarettes." And then he spoke to me. And I think that's why he spoke to me. It was like he whispered in my ear because I heard the whisper and everything. And he said, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. And the pain went away. And when the pain went away, that's when I went to my desk and started writing those poems. And I've been doing it ever since. And that was in 2000.
And when that happened, were you still with your first husband?
Heck no. When he had came home from work in his little nasty mood, I don't know, because he would fight me for no reason too. He would just fight me just to be fighting. So, and it should never be a reason to fight a woman. Period. So he should never hit a woman, and he kept doing it, kept doing it. So what did he think was going to happen? Because he wasn't trying to get help, he wasn't trying to get counseling, and I didn't want a divorce, but I didn't love him no more. Once you done beat the love out of him, you know what I'm saying? You didn't buy food, he didn't do anything. We having to move from place to place because he wasn't paying the rent and stuff, because he was busy smoking marijuana all the time. He would rather get a bag of marijuana than buy some bread for the house. So, and that's the type of person. He still had a young mind, and then he wanted to fight and stuff. So, uh, he this one particular day he started fighting me in front of my daughters. So that was a no. So in front of my daughters, they were screaming and hollering. So I'll try to run upstairs. When I got to the top of the stairs, he ran up behind me and grabbed me. And then he started cussing me out and he pushed me. So I fell down the stairs. And when I was at the end of the stairs, bottom of the stairs, I thought he was going to come apologize and say, "Let me help you up," that he didn't mean to do that. No, guess what he started doing? He started kicking me with steel toe boots on. He had on steel toe boots, his work boots. And he started just kicking me while I'm on the ground. And that was the last straw. I said, when he go to work, I'm leaving. And that's what I did. I called my mom. She was so happy because she been begging me to leave him. She had been begging because he was not like right up here, for real. We had to move in with her because he didn't pay the rent and we was getting evicted. And we were staying in her basement. And he wanted me to do something. And I told him no. And he got mad and said he was going to kill himself. See, he was using how my father did. He was taking it and he kept using it. And that's how he lost me because don't do that. And he was doing that and thinking I wasn't seeing what he was doing. I'm going to kill myself, knowing my father killed himself. So he went behind the garage and my mother moved us in a neighborhood. We was the only black family in the whole city. It was called Shabby in Louisville, Kentucky. Now it's mixed now, but then we was the only black family. Boy, some white people didn't like that. They did not. We didn't deal with a whole lot of racism, but we did deal with racism by KKK member for real. He came riding past the house. I'm holding my baby walking to the door, and I just heard this loud banging thing, and I heard something hit the house. But my mother's house is stone. It's
Mhm.
stone, so when it hit the house, it didn't damage anything. It just bounced right back off, and he shot at the house 3 times. Well, obviously wasn't a good shooter because
Mhm.
he was trying to shoot through the house, but he never got because she had a big old picture size window. He never hit the window. He never hit that. He hit above it, below it, beside it. But he probably was trying to reach it because he wanted to hit somebody because he wanted us out of that neighborhood. And that's what he said, get out of our neighborhood. And then said the N word and
Mhm.
skid on off. And my mother got in her car before she gave her life to God. And she was toting her gun and went chasing and
Mhm.
found out where he lived and got him locked up and found out he was KKK member. He stayed locked up for about an hour,
An
but he didn't
hour.
bother us. No. Yeah, yeah. It's in Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville, Kentucky. It's Mitch McConnell's home. So you see what I'm saying?
And how long did you live with your mother? I mean, after you left your husband, you said you went to go live with your mother.
No,
After
no, no,
that,
no, no, no.
oh
I didn't
you
go live.
live
No,
oh you didn't live with her. You just you went
no.
to
When I was married to my husband, when I left my mother, my goal was to stay away.
oh you should say you stayed away by going.
Yeah, the only reason because I needed her because he didn't have nowhere to take us. And I
Mm,
asked her to come and
okay.
stay. She said, "Yeah," but I done been back a lot of times. Mom let us all come back. We
Okay.
all done been over there staying with her in and out. Let's roll out for the family members. She'll
Okay.
cry and yell and moan and stuff like she have in labor. But this should change her mind, because we know she had a good heart. So, she's alive. My brother
Okay.
got her. He That's another long story. So
Okay. So after you left your first husband, is that when you chose to live a life of celibacy, or did
no,
more happen?
more kept happening.
Oh,
More
more
kept
kept
happening.
happening. Oh,
Yeah. It got worse and worse. Yeah. My family's so dysfunctional and it was real hurtful. And it sent me through a depression. And I had a nervous breakdown. When I went there, it was not last time, it was time before then. But before I tell you about that, I'll
mhm.
finish telling you about what happened after the husband. They kidnapped my kids.
They
I,
what?
I did, they kidnapped my kids, him and his family.
Okay.
Wouldn't let me talk to him or nothing. And then when I called the police, and the sister-in-law knew, see, they knew the rules. I was young. I
Mhm.
didn't know the law and all that because I never had to deal with the law. They did, so they knew the law. And so there was just a family I shouldn't have never, you know what I'm saying? We was like opposites,
Mhm.
opposite. Everybody I meet, I want to meet somebody that I'm like, what I'm saying, uh, uh, compatible with,
Yeah.
and we're not opposites. So I always we meet opposite people. Now, opposite people think opposite of what I think, because I think good
Mhm.
and they think bad. Like my husband, but he always was thinking bad to steal my kids. That's thinking bad. That's evil, and that devastated me. And still mourning my father. Still not healed from that because I didn't get the therapy that I need.
Mhm.
And then got these kids, so I had to worry about them. But when before I got there, I had a third baby. That's the daughter, the third daughter. I had her, and that's why they had the kids because I left him didn't mean I left my in-laws. That's what they didn't understand. I didn't divorce y'all. I wasn't divorcing y'all because I wasn't married to y'all. Y'all didn't beat me, but you sure didn't put babies in. You didn't
Yeah.
do that. He did.
Mhm.
Y'all didn't, and they was the one who wanted to take him. He had something to do with it, but he was sitting in the background because he wasn't about to take care of nobody. He didn't take care of when we was together, so he sure wasn't gonna take care of when we wasn't together. So he wasn't. He just wanted to hurt me. They knew that was gonna hurt. The way to hurt her is get through her kids, and they knew it was gonna hurt. And it did. It devastated me. But I said I'm gonna fight, and I fought, and I won. And I
Okay.
got permanent custody. Yeah, I got permanent custody, and I got a divorce. So all in the same time. I was divorcing him. The police helped me. The white policeman, he was real nice. I should took his name. He was real nice. He helped me. He gave me a card. He said, "Look, call my friend. Uh, Tell me you want to get a divorce." And I called his friend. His friend did the divorce for me for free. for free. Yeah, so that was a blessing. I forgave him. I forgave him, and we became really close. We really did. Because I loved my ex-mother-in-law and all my in-laws, they love me. I got married a second time. My in-laws love me, but the husbands are full of crap. They don't know how to love. They love you, but they don't know how to show love. And when you don't show love, you're not going to have to be in a relationship for very long. You can be in a short-term relationship.
In your experiences with men, was there a point where you decided, you know what, I'm going to hate men and therefore I'm going to be celibate? Or was your celibacy, was it out of hatred, or was it just out of a healing for yourself?
Just healing
What
for
was
myself.
healing for yourself?
The second year, what you said, healing for myself. It was for me. It wasn't for no, because I don't hate men. I don't hate men. It's just I kept meeting the wrong one. So that's why I'm like, before I make sure that this person is the right person for me and that we're compatible. Because most of them we weren't compatible. But if he's a good guy, and that's what you got to look at with the heart. And that's what I tend to not look at ever, but I do now. But I just don't date, and it's because guys try to talk to me. I just don't want to right now.
Okay.
I don't want nobody bothering me. I like my peace and my quiet. I'm for real. It irks me. Like if I hear a lot of noise, it irks me. Because I like to sit and write, and I listen to music when I'm writing. I listen to music. It don't bother me because it's my gospel music. So I listen to music, and I write gospel songs. So it gives me little nuggets when I'm writing. So that's why I like to sit when I'm writing. I like to listen to music because it helps me. And then I talk to Jesus too. But anyway, the third, well, he to say he was my second, because Lon was my first. That's the one I married. Now I ain't married that second guy. I would never marry him. But this man was like, it's hard to explain. When I moved into his mother's apartment, he was going out every weekend. I didn't know he was a drug addict. I didn't know people shot up drugs. So I was still naive
Mhm.
because I was a good girl,
Mhm.
but with a bad guy. See, that's why I was a good girl with these bad guys. So uh uh I started noticing something just wasn't right. And then one day I walked in the room, and him and his cousin was in there, and I was asking him something because I was making some fresh greens. And he could cook real good. And I was asking him a question about like some ingredients or something. And he said, I walked in, he had a needle in his arm. But I didn't know people shot up drugs because I never was around stuff like that. So I thought it was medicine. That's what I was assuming. So he should have just let me think that.
Yeah.
but now he cussed me out. He called me a B, called me the B word, said, I'm gonna get you when I get out. He said, get the HEWL out, and I got something to say to you when I get out. And then here's when he called me the B word. And then he got out. He had never hit me. And he said he would never hit me because he knew that my ex-husband was doing it. And what he do? He hit me. And he continued to hit me. He continued to hit me. And not on then I ended up getting my own place. He moved in with me. He was doing good for a while, and we were kind of happy. I bought a car from one of his friends. I didn't know him and his friend had been messing with each other. The friend was a white guy, and he was gay, and they he ended up telling me that they were messing around. But the reason he told me, he wasn't telling me to get him in trouble or to hurt me or anything. He was telling me to help me. So that's what made me start really getting into it because I started seeing like the more I changed my life, the better things were starting to look. And it was looking like that, but it just was never ever no fruit was ever coming from it. Like I was always getting sad. So stuff kept happening to me back to back. I ended up getting pregnant, not wanting no more kids. And I get pregnant and I had a son. That's why I was with George, but it wasn't by George. Yeah, they drug addict, probably couldn't even have no more kids. But Shell is his daughter. And that's his only child. But that's the drug addict. So he was beating me and he was on drugs. And then I got to put him out. I ended up putting him out because I was gonna beat my brother said, beat him with the skillet. It was skillet sitting on my stove. He said, if he try to hit you again, just beat him with the skillet. Finally had to beat him. I just had to swing it at him. He got scared and he stopped fighting me. And then I just said, I told him I gave him enough time to leave. I gave him like 30 days. I said, you got to pack your stuff and leave, and we're done.
Mhm.
And cause that's what you want. Cause if you hit me, you don't want to be with me. If you think I'm your punching bag, and you know where I came from, what my ex-husband was doing to me, and he was there when I had to fight them through court and everything, and how I was crying every night. I missed my daughter so bad, it was driving me crazy. And he seen all of that and was still stealing from me. He stole floor model color TV and everything, and sold it for drugs.
And
And I get rid of him. I said, I can't do this. And then he just went and started lying on me and talking about me like a dog, as if I care, because
mhm.
people gonna talk about you. But why would you do that? And you know I ain't do nothing to you. So why would you do that? You did it to me. Just like my ex-husband did. So you did the same thing he did and promised that you wasn't gonna do that. And turned around and did he did worse though. Because my ex-husband didn't steal from me, but he stole from me. He stole more than just TV and that car. But also expensive stuff. That's bad enough, to sell something that expensive. It's hard for me to get that stuff back. And he wasn't gonna buy it for me. So
Was there a moment where you were able to establish more positive relationships? And if so, like when did that start?
when I gave my life to the Lord and when I lived in California, I
California.
yeah. When I lived in California, I lived different. I went to church there, me and my daughter Tanya. We went to church faithfully. We got the kids in church. They went to kids' church, and we loved it. And I think lot of times when you meet people, I think they can sense like when you've been through stuff, you ain't got to tell them. And they like people just kind of like, and I think they tell me a lot of people like me because of my personality, because they say I got a good personality. I try.
Yeah.
I I try because sometimes I feel like want to go off sometimes for real. I just like because sometimes I just be like so sick and tired of like life, like what I've been through, and like it'll come back up sometimes. So that's why I go to therapy now because like I mean, please erase out of my mind or erase out of my mind like all these dark thoughts, the past stuff I've been through. Like I end up dating again after all this stuff because I'm not ready to date yet until it's time. I don't want to rush into nothing or anything, and that's why I'm not dating now because I just don't want to rush into anything because I truly don't want another ex-husband.
And
Uh,
like you said earlier, you want to make sure that you're compatible with the person and you're not just getting
exactly,
with anybody. You just
exactly, like I was doing, because that's what I was doing. I was just like anybody say, I like you, Twana. I think you pretty, and I'm like, okay, and
yeah.
I'm like, all for it, yeah,
Mhm.
because them guys are good at that, and I'm all for that. But now I'm not. Now I'm not because I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it because I know now. Because once you start getting older, you get seasoned, you get wiser,
You
and
get
I'm a lot
wiser.
wiser. And that's why I tell my daughters I'm a lot wiser. Not only am I born again Christian, but I'm wiser. I would never go through what I've been through. And I don't, and I was just want to, like, I'm a motivational speaker. I became a motivational speaker because I was dying. And that my daughters the ones told me, you need to share your story, mama. They said, you need to share your story because when I found out I had HIV, that was the last straw for me. Because then I'd have been I'd have been through all this stuff. And after that rape, had my little boy, Taiwan, he was stillborn. Then I had, having a tube pregnancy. And they told me for me to get pregnant, it was going to be like the chance was going to be very, very, very slim, very slim. And I didn't get pregnant for a long time. And I ended up getting pregnant with my fourth daughter. It's my youngest daughter, Danielle. And after that, and they took out the tube and that ovary, so I only had one tube, one ovary. So I told them, I said, just tie that one tube because I cut it, do something because obviously I can have babies. And when I got pregnant, I didn't want to have no baby by this guy, which is somebody I was dealing with. I didn't want to have a relationship with him. And I see why now because he ended up being on drugs. He's on drugs now. He keep going back and forth playing with my daughter and stuff. That's why I ain't got time for all that. But it's just all the stuff I've been through, and it's just compiled and stuff. And then when I got to found out, because I'm walking around for 10 years with HIV in my body, had no clue because I wasn't having any symptoms. But I was celibate, so thank God I was celibate,
Mhm.
and I didn't give it to anybody. So I never gave it to anybody at all. So they gave stuff to me. I ain't never gave nobody a disease. But when I found the reason and how I found that out, because when I was in LA County, I started getting sick. Now all these years, I wasn't really getting sick. Like I would get sick for a couple of days, wasn't feeling well, didn't feel like getting out of the bed. It go away. I'm okay. And I'm up in the car driving and stuff. And then I started getting dizzy while I was driving and driving off the road
Mhm.
one time. And then that's when my daughters took the keys and said, uh, I need to go to the ID clinic. I didn't want to go because I didn't want to hear the word HIV anymore. I just didn't because I was not accepting that. I went into a deep denial when I found out that when I went to a doctor in Northern California, Contra Costa County. Uh, as I went there and she said, "Yo," because we ended up moving, and she said, "Your symptoms sound like HIV." And I said, "I know I ain't got that because I'm celibate." And then she said, "How long you been celibate?" I said, 10 years. She said, "It doesn't matter." And I still didn't know what she was talking about, but it could be in your body for 10 years without symptoms. So everything I've been through, or as far as that disease, I met each. When you open up and read the symptoms, I had each one. AIDS, each symptom I had. The fever, the temperature, the diarrhea. I had all of that. I felt horrible. I stopped and tell you why I stopped taking that medicine. I only had to take one pill. The fact that I had HIV, the fact that this doctor said I had HIV when I'm not out here sleeping around with anybody. And I'm like, no, who was I with? Because it had been so long that who could have gave it to me. And that's what my daughter said, I have forgot about that. No good. I said, oh yeah, because he was the one when I was telling, because I was telling it. That's why I was born a baby Christian. He knew it. He took advantage of it. He knew it. I was naive. And, the ministers and prophets were telling me I was going to marry a minister and all this. So the guy said he's a minister. And I wrote my first book called From Darkness into His Marvelous Light. And that's why I was promoting on his site. And he was on this particular site. I think it's called Black Planet or something. It's not a dating site because I didn't get on dating sites. It's not a dating site, but I don't know what it was called because it was Black Planet. I haven't been on there since. After that, after I met him, I didn't go back anymore. But we ended up talking, and we talked for like 9 months. He was like, "I love you. I want to marry you," and blah blah blah. And he said, "Meet me in Memphis," because he lived in, I think, South Carolina. And he said, "Meet me in Memphis, and we're gonna spend a weekend together." And no, I did. In the weekend, was very, very nice, very nice. But then he couldn't wait till that Sunday came, because that Sunday I was due to fly out, which I still did fly out, go home, because I was ready to go home until I was ready to get away from it. But he kept on coercing me and begging me to get him sex. And I was reluctant. I kept saying, no, no, I'm celibate. And I didn't tell him I had a hysterectomy and that I had already had HIV tested and all that. I didn't tell him that it was, I didn't have anything. And uh, so I was like, okay, but you got to have a condom. I said, you got a condom? He said, yeah. So he's acting like he's putting his condom on. So I'm not wanting to do anything. So I'm just laying in the bed on my back. And I'm like, oh God, I just want to get it over with. Because he telling me he loves me. I still want to marry you. He's telling me all this stuff. So I'm looking at him. I have a glance over at him. And he's acting like he's opened up a pack of condoms and acting like he's putting it on. So when he got done and got off of me, I'm looking, I'm like, where's the condom at? Because he didn't have one on. So I went to the bathroom and I'm trying to look and see if it came up, fell off in me or something. I say, he did not put no condom on while he sit there and play like he put one on. So when I got home, I told my daughter, Tanya, I said, Tanya, I said, I was a dummy and slept with him. And I said, nah, I think that he gave me something. 10 years later, he gave me something, the HIV. 3 years after that, because I wanted to die after that, I was like, I'm done. I said, I'm done. I don't care. And I was raising my grandkids and everything and living in California. And I just want to die. I just been through a lot. Like the date rape. That's why I want to say something about that. That guy. me and the guy was dating. And he just asked me one day, he said, "Why don't you come over and sit with me and whatever?" I can't think of the guy's name. And I said, "Okay." So I went over there and I was sitting and we was drinking beer and talking. Like they had on the game or something. And we was having good conversation. But then the guy kept on saying, "Can I take you out? I want to be with," but he knew I was in a relationship with this other guy, his friend or his relative, whatever he was to him, because I can't quite remember. And he wasn't saying anything. I was wondering why that guy wasn't saying anything. But they was in cahoots. So I had to go to the bathroom, and when I came back, I was they kept telling me drink this, finish up this beer because it was more. But I started drinking it, and I started getting tired real quick. And it was like, finish it up. And I was telling him I'm getting tired. So he was like, go back there and lay down, take your clothes off. But I didn't take my clothes off. But I woke up and my clothes was off. Nothing was on. Why did he knew what I've been through. And when he did that, it triggered something. And I had a nervous breakdown. And I seen when I was having a breakdown, I seen the guy having sex with me. So, and I needed to see that to, cause I just knew it. And for him to let that guy do that, it just goes to show how dirty that this guy was to even do that and allow somebody else to help him do it. And not only that, y'all could have killed me, y'all drug it. Y'all, they drugged me. They put something in their beer. That's why they kept telling me to drink it. Because they kept on saying, drink it, beer, drink it. And they never done it before. And I thought that was weird and it was odd, but I never thought nothing negative. I didn't think that he would do something like that. And that devastated me. And for years, it bothered me. And that's why I had that nervous breakdown. Because now this has been years ago. But for some reason, I think because I don't remember it all. And but then I don't care to remember. Now I know that that guy touched me. And that's when my daughter was like, you need to start sharing your story.
It's good to see you sharing your story. And of course, there's a lot of sadness, but at the same time, you're not allowing that darkness, that past, to keep you from
Mhm.
sharing your light. And even, you're sharing your faith. So I want to ask, where can people find more information about you, about the things that you're doing, and about the books and movies that you're currently working on?
Oh, yes, they can go to my website because my website has it all on there. They have some of the books I read, and the children's book, and then the From Darkness into His Marvelous Light. That's a fiction. That's not. I don't write like religious stuff because I'm not religious. I don't write like spiritual stuff. It's just I throw God in there.
Okay.
Sometimes I sneak them in some of the stuff. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? Some stuff is I'm writing. I'm saying I'm writing this for Jesus. But
Mhm.
most of the stuff I write stuff that like I wrote a play, Love Have by Chance. But that's a gospel stage play.
Mhm.
But it goes a little out with real religious people, but I'm not catering to them because I'm not religious. So I'm
Okay.
not catering to them. But if they want to enjoy my stuff, I would love for them to go to my website.
Uh,
And it has on there my press release. It has on about me having AIDS, been an AIDS survivor. I don't have AIDS anymore, so let's get that straight. I
Okay.
have HIV now, so the AIDS converted back to HIV because it was a miracle.
Mhm.
But that's what the doctor said. But I said it was Jesus. That's what I said. It was Jesus. Because who else could save you when the doctors count you out? The
Mhm.
doctors counted me out. That gave me 2 weeks to live and told my daughter I was in a wheelchair, weighed 98 pounds and everything. Told my daughters I had 2 weeks to live. They told them put me in hospice. My daughter said, "No, I'm putting her in a hospice. Our mother's faith is too strong." And they put me in hospice. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm thankful. And and they kept on making sure and talking to me and praying with me, Tanya, to come and read the Bible till I got better, and because they knew I was gonna get better. Because I never ever been like a quitter or I give up.
Mhm.
On this I did. I wanted to give up, but I didn't give up. I didn't give up
Mhm.
because I got them daughters, and that's when you get a disease, and that's what I tell people all the time: make sure somebody confide in a family member.
Mhm.
Because you always think people think I don't want to tell my family because they embarrass me. But some families will embrace you.
Mhm.
I didn't think my mother was religious. I'm like I said, I'm spiritual, but she's religious. So I didn't want her to know because she gonna say the devil did it. She gonna say, don't take the medicine because that's the devil's medicine. And that's what she did. Exactly what I thought she was gonna do. And that's what she did. And I would have been dead because she wanted me to come there. And my daughter kept saying, won't you go stay? And I'm like, no, I'm not going, and not anyone go back to look. So I was like, no. And why? She's telling me stop taking my medicine. I'm ready to take the medicine now. See, then I was ready to take it. I'm ready to live. So I won't go somewhere with somebody, their beliefs are you don't take medicine for your illness.
Mhm.
So, and that was the reason why I had AIDS because I stopped taking that medicine. And I did that on purpose. And that, and that's what people, please don't do that because that's not a good feeling. I had a dream about heaven and I went to heaven. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful. I didn't want to come back. She kept saying, you got to go back. And I said, no. She said, go back. She said, go back. You got a lot of work to do. She said, you got a lot of work to do for God. She said, go back. And that's what she was telling me pretty much. I guess why he kept me alive. And that's why, I'm adamant about speaking and doing this stuff because I'm helping people too. And I'm helping people heal. Because people come up to me and say, thank you for sharing your story. And I had to thank my daughters. So, what I did by thanking them? I brought them on board. So they were my caregivers. So caregivers need love too. So and they
Mhm.
need to get more attention than they get. And so I they come in and they speak for 10 minutes. Each one of them, all three of them, they speak for 10 or 15 minutes before I go speak.
Mhm.
And then I'll go speak. You standing ovations. I'll tell people like in all back there, they like the dynamics. They like, oh, you and your daughters and stuff, and you did that. But it wasn't a ministry did it before.
Mhm.
They said, let me get your seatbelt. They said, it's okay, bring your daughters up because they be your caregivers. They got your back because they do have my back. And she was like, and I said, yeah. And I was like, it's a good idea to do that. And so I started doing it. And I was speaking regularly for this one person. And I told him, I said, I'm going to have them come on up before me. I say, I always recite a poem too. I always recite a poem. So, because, I want to bless people. And that's when they be happy. But a lot of them come up to the first time I spoke in Dallas, Texas at a women's HIV AIDS conference. It was like almost 500 women. And they came up to me. Remember, I just said I don't like to be around a lot of crowds.
Mhm. Eh,
But I didn't push my way. I ain't panic. I talked to them and I hugged. See that's positive. So
yes.
yeah, so it's positive and I'm helping people and I'm blessing people. So I don't mind a lot of people coming up and saying stuff and want hugs and I want to talk and tell me. That's what they'll tell me. Like my parents, one lady said she ain't even told her parents that she had HIV because they were shun her. So this is what a lot of people go through when you have a disease by family members and people shunning them and stuff. And that's not a good feeling and it sends people
Mhm.
into depression. And that's not good. I wrote a play called Stigmatized and it talks about that. Because stigma, I don't like a stigma. Because what do you don't understand. Walk in my shoes for a day. Or like years ago when I
Mhm.
was going through all that stuff. I ain't been going through that stuff now. But I would, see if I want to see my mama before she leave this earth. My brother just being nasty.
Mhm.
I don't know why though. I just think that's hilarious because but what I'm gonna say about my mother before we go, I love my mother to pieces. My mother ended up becoming because one day I was praying because I was like, I'm tired of my mother. She done broke up my friendship with some of my Christian friends and lied on me. She done turned my brothers against me. My brothers called me and my daughter Tanya, Fat Bitch, just the brother out. I was telling you about it, but I love her. I forgive her. That was many years ago. I
You mentioned earlier also that you have a website. What is the
Yeah.
website so the audience can check it out?
The, the website is www.twanalawler, my name, T as in Tom, WANA, Lawler, LAWLER.com. And on there you'll see like I think I got some poems, a couple of poems,
Okay.
and then I got like what list of everything I've done in the past. And all the speaking engagements and everything I've done and all the stuff I've done. Because I've done a whole lot.
Mhm.
And then they'll see the trailers to the movies, the three movies and the gospel stage play.
Okay, so I'll leave that in the show notes in case
Okay.
they, for those in the audience, those who are listening, they want to go check it out. I'll be leaving a link to Twana Lawler's website, so you can check that out. Check out her poetry, and you also have motivational talks on YouTube or on other
No,
websites.
I have some on YouTube, but I may just go put a couple on on my site because I kept saying I'm going to because I'd have been on other shows too, but that's
Okay.
and I need to do that and because help everybody, we help each other.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Eh,
Because I want to put you on there, and I'm gonna put another person on there too. That another interview with this guy Travis. The name of his podcast is "Tell Me Something Good" without the G, so
mhm.
it's just
Oh, okay.
the end.
Okay.
Tell me
Something.
something good. Is there
So,
something? There's something.
so,
Tell me something good.
so I'll be sharing all of that with the audience in the show notes. And again, I just want
Yeah,
to thank you, Twana, for sharing your story and also for sharing your story, not just the negative part, but also the part where you shine and you do positive things in this life. Thank you so much for your
thank
ministry
you.
and for all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you. And I love being here. Thank you.
Thank you.